All right, folks, what is going on? This is episode 685 of the First and Frame Rate Show. I am VF Baller. Over here, we talk about Georgia Southern and Atlanta Falcons football. And normally, throughout this time of the week, Friday, I usually try to talk about some sort of a pregame when it comes to the Falcons or the Georgia Southern Eagles. Georgia Southern is going to be playing James Madison in a big game up at in James Madison's territory. It's going to be a really good game tomorrow at 12. Also, you have the Falcons going to be playing the Commanders. They're hosting the Commanders this weekend as well. So that's going to be two good games. But I came across this article and I found this very interesting. And I want to give you my thoughts and opinions on it. Coach Prime to the Falcons Scout. We ain't coming back unless we bring the Sanders boys to the A. I don't see this happening, but I'm going to talk about it anyway because I find it fairly interesting. So if this is your first time here, welcome. I could be found on YouTube and Rumble. I'm also on Anchor, Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts. Don't forget to hit the like button. Let this podcast grow, and it grows based on your likes, so it can grow through the algorithm, and other people can watch the show, and it reaches a higher and bigger audience. Also, I'm like I said, I can be found on Anchor, Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts. If you want to listen to the podcast at your leisure, you can listen to it on those avenues. I can be found at Twitter or X at VF Baller, and the website is firstandframerates.com, firstandframerates.com. All right, let's go ahead and get into this. Coach Prime said they ain't coming back unless he bring the Sanders boys at A. This is very far-fetched. I don't see this happening because you're not going to get Shiloh and Shedeur. I don't see that unless the Falcons look absolutely terrible. And with the play of Desmond Ridder, I don't think he's going to be that bad to the point where we can probably even reach Shedeur Sanders if he was to come out into the NFL draft. I think if Shedeur comes out, he's going to be at least a top 10 pick, maybe top 15. And maybe the Falcons will reach him at 14 or 15 because I think the Falcons are basically going to be just like how they were last year. But I don't think they're going to be necessarily top 8, top 10, maybe. I think they're going to be slightly better than that. They'll probably be maybe around the 15th to 18th in the first round. I just think the Falcons are above average at best. Not at best, but at the low point. So 10 wins, more likely. That looks like what the Falcons going to be doing. So I don't think they'll be able to reach a door. And Shiloh, I mean, what are the odds of getting both of them? I mean, I don't see that. Now, I know Coach Prime, he loves Atlanta. Say what you want about him playing in Dallas or playing in San Francisco. He started out in Atlanta, and Atlanta is his home. I mean, he was a Brave and he was a Falcon. So I know he would love to come back here if he could. Excuse me. But I think Arthur Smith is going to keep the job for the most part. And I don't think, Coach Prime, he has any interest in moving to the pros. I mean, he loves college ball. I think he's been on record saying that, which that don't really mean nothing nowadays to most coaches. But just looking at this on the surface, I think this would probably end up being a circus. Because if you bring the Sanders boys to the A, that's what's all going to be talked about. And I don't think that's something that Coach Arthur Smith could really deal with. I don't think that's something that he should deal with. I honestly don't think that's something that Terry Fontenot should deal with. I think for the fans, I think they would love it to have, even one of the players of the Sanders boys here, let alone two. They would love it. It will fill seats, especially if it's Shedeur. And I think that would be something that it would really be exciting for the fan base. Now, will that equate to wins? I don't know. I mean, Shedeur looks really good on on the field and on his stats. I mean, he's been playing very good. He only threw 2 interceptions so far this year at a quarterback rating of 158. His QBR is 70.3. He's completed 72% of his passes for the season. I mean, he looks really good. Thrown for over 2,000 yards, 16 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. And even the years before that, I mean, all he's done is improved. He started in 2021 at 65%. He went to 70% in 2022, and he's 72% right now in 2023. So it's not that far-fetched that he's going to be a pretty decent NFL prospect if the scouts look at him correctly. And I wonder if the Atlanta Falcons scout went to go look at Shedeur. And if that's the case, what does that say about, the Desmond Ridder project? I mean, does that continue going, or are they in the, Are they in the the sweepstakes to look for Shador Sanders or even Shiloh or even any other guys that's there? What are they looking for? It's just for me. Um, they don't have much invested in Desmond Ritter. Let's be honest, money wise, anyway. So if Desmond Ritter does not pan out, it's not going to hurt them that much. He's still on a rookie deal. So, but I feel like if Desmond Ritter continue to play like he did last week, if he does that and continue to play that way, I think he would be okay, and he'll probably be the quarterback at least in Atlanta for the next year or two. But as far as them bringing Shador, I mean, you're basically going to have to probably lose the next. What are we now? What 3-2? We got 12 games left. I mean, you're literally going to probably have to go 2-10. You know what I'm saying? You're probably going to have to go 3-9. You're going to have to literally wet the bed for the next 12 games for that to happen. And I don't see the Falcons. I think the Falcons defense alone is going to win us at least 4 more games. So I mean that now we're looking at 7 wins right there. So I don't see it happening. But Coach Prime said it. I mean, he put us on notice, and he's like, they ain't coming back. And I know that's something that sounds good, but I just don't see it. I think it'll do more harm than good, because I don't think that's something that Coach Arthur Smith and Terry Fontenot really would even go for. I don't see it. If anything, I think they would probably try to bring Shiloh in, because as we see right now, the Falcons love defensive backs. They bought Jesse Bates in. They got Clark Phillips. They bought Mike Hughes in. They bought Jeff Okudah in. They bought in like 7 or 8 new defensive backs, and to have another one is never going to hurt in the passing league. But as far as that one position, the quarterback, man, I mean, like I said, Desmond Ritter definitely going to have to do something like absolutely terrible, and we end up having to, have the top 10 pick or a top 10 pick for that to happen. Because I don't see, if Shador keeps playing the way he's playing, I don't see him coming, I don't see him leaving the top 10. That would be extremely surprising if he goes out of the top 10 in this upcoming draft, even if he decides to come in to be in the draft. I think overall, I think the Falcons are in a good spot right now. And I don't think that, the coaching staff or the organization themselves they don't really want this to happen right now. I don't think they'll want it to be this way. I think for the most part, the Falcons like where they are right now, especially with the rise of Storm Norton. Me personally, I would leave Storm Norton in the game. It's going to be really interesting what they do with Caleb McGarry. They said he's ready to go. If he comes in like the first 5 minutes of the game or the first drive of the game, Desmond Ritter's on his back again, I think the writing's on the wall. We may want to try to trade that guy for like a 7th round pick at that point. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's just not worth it, because I mean Caleb is probably just gonna have to get benched, because Storm Norton played one good game. I know it's only one game, but he played a damn good game, and that game caused Desmond Ritter to throw for over 300 yards, something that we thought he couldn't do. And if he does that, there's no reason for at least Shador to be an Atlanta Falcon, because I mean you put up consistently 300-yard games, and you rush for a touchdown as well. I mean, it's very difficult to say, hey, you don't need that job anymore. So I'm just looking at this. I like what Coach Prime said. It makes sense. If I'm a father, I would say that if my son, like, look, if you want, my son's going to be moving to a town to play ball or whatever the case may be, look, I'll be there. You know what I mean? So I kind of get it, but I don't think Coach Prime would leave Colorado if this boy's played in Atlanta. I just don't see that. That's really, that right there doesn't make any sense, in my opinion. I think that's something that would not fly very well for the Falcons organization. But let me know what you guys think. Do you think this would be a good idea? Just sound off in the comments and let me know, or hit me up on Twitter or X and let me know. So if you like this commentary, hit that like button once again. If you haven't, I'm telling you to hit it once again. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Share this podcast. I can be found on YouTube and Rumble. I'm also on Anchor, Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts. The more I think about this, I think it just sounds crazy. You know, I was in the beginning of the show. I started thinking about it. The more I talk about it, it just didn't. It sounds somewhat convincing, but it just fell off. So it didn't work out for me. So I've already been a no-go about it. But what made it sound interesting at first, now it just don't sound too interesting at all. So you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend or your evening as well. I'm going to get up out of here, and I'll be talking about the games throughout the weekend, and I'll see you guys then. All right, y'all. Enjoy your Friday. Y'all take it easy, and y'all be blessed. Peace.